Hello everyone. I would like to make a post playthrough video where I talk about my experiences with my last playthrough, give you my thoughts on it along with suggestions and recommendations. I'll bring up possible plans for new content as well. It's a little experimental. I haven't done a video like this. So let's talk about it. Just a heads up. I do have nasal congestion because of allergies. So if you hear any weird noises, it's because of my breathing. I'm sorry about that. I've been making Ace Combat 7 content since I first started uploading like 6 or so years ago now. I love the game and I replayed it like countless times. And last year I finally played it on PC and I'm spoiled now. I can't go back to consoles with it. As for the mods, Skies Restored by Calamitous is a big one. It restores cut dialogue, makes character portraits clearer, as well as provide new mission pictures in the select screens and options for a different picture at the game start screen. As for the dialogue, I have two favorites from the mod. One is where Band Dog tells off Commander McKenzie when he starts whining about the mission, how risky it is. Band Dog just like calls him a pawn. Yeah, just like we all were in that mission. Then the other cool cut dialogue that was restored was for George, the Belkan deserter who wanted to atone for his sins. I don't want to spoil what he said, so you have to try it out for yourself to get the story. I highly recommend it. And the second of the large mods was the enhanced gunplay mod, the Gauntlet Edition by Witcher Salmon 99. This mod was something else. If for any reason you think Ace is too easy, this mod is for you. It increases the difficulty beyond what the game allows. I never tried it until this playthrough, honestly, so what you see throughout was my real reaction to what's happening. It doesn't just enhance your guns and your enemies' guns. It also gives you the option to allow enemies to use special weapons themselves. Sky-shattering lasers and railguns firing all over the place. Special weapons are changed slightly too, so the amount of missiles you can launch is tied to the number of pylons you have. So now the long-range air-to-air missile can... now it's like a lock-on missile. Or, well, technically it's a multi-lock-on powerhouse. So, like, if there's any plane that has both LAAM and the regular 4 multi-lock-on AAMs, just go with the LAAM. It's much better. Aircraft that can post-stall maneuver can do so at any speed. So now planes can drift when turning. There are special versions of missions where it spawns in all the enemies at once, like in the first mission, where we had to take out the bombers. The bombers are still scripted, so they won't spawn in at all at once, but their escorts do. And some missions are altered slightly to be tougher as well. Just for example, some missions I survived at like 99% damage. I literally like beat them by the skin of my teeth. Jammers are scattered throughout the game now. They are no longer tied to the DLC missions. In Faceless Soldier, the I think it's mission 9. Yeah. The radar sites can jam. The Hornet Swarm later in the mission also had jammer. Honestly though, the mission itself wasn't too difficult in the base game, but it was the last mission I needed to S rank back on the PS4, and I struggled with it more than I thought I would. But with this mod, it's still like it still surprised me. But yeah, the jamming Hornets also obscured where the Helios missiles would hit. And also, I was wrong that they were carrying railguns. I assumed that because earlier in the mission, the named aircraft, which also flies the Hornet, had a railgun. And I assumed that the drones at the end of the mission would do the same, but they didn't, surprisingly. But they still had their missiles and guns, obviously. And it seemed like they had the quick maneuvering missile, the QAM. Because I found the missile was a little harder to dodge, or could just be the plane I was using. But either way, that was fun. I knew that some missions, and like I just said with Faceless Soldier, I knew that some missions would be so much trouble with this mod, but I wasn't prepared for how much they were. I also knew that Anchorhead Raid, or DLC Mission 2, would be the hardest of the bunch. It is already quite a mission on Ace in the base game to begin with. Except with the mod, Aegis Ashores had jammers, enemy aircraft had lasers, and ships can destroy your missiles even if they don't have marked Sea-Wiz. I had to retry the mission a handful of times. It didn't help I was flying an aircraft I'm unfamiliar with. I usually don't fly the CFA-44 Nosferatu in 7 because I don't like how it controls compared to other aircraft in the game. On top of that, it controls differently with the mod, so I was really asking for trouble with it. I wasted no time when I got to the Mimic Squadron. I pulled out the railguns and shot them immediately before they had time to react. In hindsight, it would have been... it would have been better to let them begin first so we can see how they fight with the mod, but I wasn't taking any chances with an unfamiliar aircraft I had no time to get used to. The Enhanced Gunplay mod is awesome, and I highly recommend it for those who want to make the game more challenging. It was a blast. This playthrough also featured LGBTQ plus skins from the Ace Combat 7 Pride Collection skins created by a handful of creators who wanted to celebrate what makes us unique. I'll list them somewhere in the video here. It was compiled by frckldFirebrand. I decided to fly in the colors that represented me: trans, non-binary, bi, pan, and ace, specifically Demi. Of the skins I used, the F-14A Top Gun Blue Shark and F-15S MTD Active Ace were my favorites. The Blue Shark skin goes so well with the Blåhaj pilot mod created by Syndicate that I was tempted to fly it more times than I did. The collection also featured the stencils. Others can create their own skins too. I recommend the collection. About the Blåhaj pilot, it was entertaining seeing all the pilots replaced by him, all except me high. That was ridiculous. By the way, this video is not sponsored by IKEA. I also used the Ultimate AWACS portrait pack by Pippi Bear Freddy and Solo Wing FH. As you may have guessed, they made custom character portraits for the AWACS in the game, including Argus and Windmaker for multiplayer. That was cool. And lastly, Color Smokes by Cherry's Delight provided the Vanguard Blue smoke for the missile trails. It was a neat effect. So apparently I forgot to list the rest of the mods from the playthrough, so I'm going to make sure to list them here. I'm probably going to have it scroll across the screen. But yeah, that's all. Enjoy the rest of the video. Hold on though. I didn't play with this one in my Blåhaj playthrough, but Sincerity's mods for add-on aircraft is my favorite mod for Ace Combat 7, along with the respective modders who created all the add-ons for it. You probably saw me use it for the modded helicopter video where I go out of bounds with it on the space elevator maps. Remember when I said that was the first helicopter? Turns out I was wrong. The honor of the first helicopter technically goes to Kosnag, or however his username is pronounced. I'll put it up in the video somewhere because I can't pronounce it. Anyway, it goes to him with his KA-50 mod. I apologize for the mistake I made in that video. Either way, I recommend Sincerity's mods, but they are incompatible with the other mods I use for the Blåhaj videos. And speaking of incompatibility, the mods broke over the course of my playthrough. In Fleet Destruction, dialogue wouldn't load and character portraits flashed. The DLC missions play fine, but once I got to Farbanti, everything breaks. Missions started with a weird sound. By about the 3-minute mark, all noise except the mission music was muted, including the annoying missile alert sound. Which I guess is a good thing because that can shut up. Portraits stopped appearing at times, and even the blue missile smoke started sputtering. The music carried over into the boss fight with Soul Squadron, even to the debriefing and main menu, where it was playing simultaneously and over the music for them. Dying resulted in a soft lock as well. I plan on replaying the mission normally as a standalone video so we get the proper experience. I don't know though. I found it entertaining having everything break like that. I joked about modding Ace Combat 7 until it breaks, and I guess I got it in this playthrough when I wasn't even trying. It turned out to be a priority issue in my mod file. I think I fixed it because I didn't run into any other issue that I was aware of when I finished my playthrough. However, I did have a fear where I heard a noise at the beginning of the 19th mission with the furball at the space elevator that reminded me of the noise in Fort Bonte, but nothing else happened. I noticed that mini games like refueling and stuff were broken with the enhanced gunplay mod, and I saw Wise Man chase Mr. X instead of the other way around, but I don't know if that was due to the priority mix-up or if that was a side effect to the gameplay mod. And in fact, I don't suggest the combination of mods I used here. Use them separately and with discretion and at your own risk. Lastly, don't play multiplayer with mods or you're a cheater and deserve to be banned. Anyway, it is not my duty to tell you how to download them, and apparently I'm not perfect, or breaking them wouldn't have happened to me. Follow the instructions at the respective mod links to try them out for yourselves. All credit goes to the modders for making these amazing experiences, and also to Project Aces for making such an incredible game to begin with. I will be playing Ace Combat games all summer in celebration of Ace Combat's 30th birthday, which was on June 30th. It is literally my favorite series in gaming. Ace Combat 4 Shattered Skies, or Distant Thunder if you're in Europe, was my first, and Zero is my favorite in the franchise. I played the entire Strange Real timeline of games. I recently played 3, Electrosphere, this past November. And thanks to a mod that translates the Japanese subtitles into English, I played the game as it should have been in the international release. I loved it. I have yet to play the first 2 games that launched the series, but I will be playing them as well. I was thinking chronologically, but I decided that I should experience them as the series progressed and improved. And about that, it turns out I scheduled my playthrough of Ace Combat 4 this morning by accident. I mean, this morning, as in recording this video, I don't know when I'm going to upload it, but this morning, I accidentally scheduled my Ace Combat 4 playthrough there. So I had to readjust the date for its release. If you were lucky enough to within the first 14 hours, you got to see the playthrough for it before it should have been released. Sorry about that. Well, that just about wraps it up for now. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you again soon. Peace. Hey, if you enjoy my content, make sure you leave a like, and if you want to see more of my content, just make sure you subscribe, and if you want to make sure to not miss anything, ring the bell, and I'll be sure to provide more content with you all. Take care.